Hello and welcome to my State of the Collection 2024 video. So right here is pretty much all of my watches that I own. I've recently got back into watches in September, and I've picked up quite a few watches since September to really expand the collection. There are a lot of Casios and a lot of G-Shocks for a number of reasons. One of them is that my first ever watch was a Casio, and I've had a couple more G-Shocks throughout the years, and they've treated me very well. Another reason is in my head, the way I'm building up the collection, I want to pick out all of the sort of Casios, G-Shocks that I'd like to get first, and then move on to sort of other brands and things. While I'm collecting those, I will be picking up other brands, but that's how my collection is going to be completed. So straight away, watch I'm wearing right now is, of course, the Swatch Dragon Ball Z collaboration, the Vegeta watch. It's called Vegeta, but of course that's Goku. It's a quartz. When you put it about 5 inches away from your face, you can kind of hear it ticking, and it's the only watch I can hear tick. But if you put it on your bedside table, I doubt you'll hear it. One of the nice features about this is my first ever Swatch, by the way, is the fact that you can just get a flathead screwdriver, take that out and just replace the battery straight away. It's kept its time, it's quite accurate. Of course, it's more of a sort of, I don't know, like fashion style watch than legibility kind of timekeeper and things. But still, I like it, and of course, you know, it goes with the channel pretty well. So that's what I'm wearing today. We're just going to go from this side onwards. I will be making separate Casio and G-Shock collection videos to go into them a bit more depth, and there'll be some other videos to do with those coming to the channel, usually on a Sunday, which is the non-Warhammer day of the week for this channel. So over here, this was a relatively new acquisition. Actually, I would say I've bought all of these watches in this box since September. So I've picked up quite a few. The most recent acquisition is the gold square, then the silver recrystallized, then the titanium, and then the gold crystallized, and then finally the bronze 2100, or the Casio oak. In terms of metal G-Shocks, so this was technically my first, or was it my first metal G-Shock? Not really. I have got a much older G-Shock that we'll go through it later in the video, but of the new ones, that was the first one, and I really enjoyed it. I thought a bit heavy, but still lighter than my Seiko Monster. I very much liked it. I liked the bronze. It's not rose gold like the square. It is a negative display and it's a bit tricky to read, but the light is good, the lume is all right, the Bluetooth function is quite nice. It's solar powered. It shows you, you know, what the charge level is like with the high, medium and low. The only downside that this doesn't have compared to the other Metal Gs over there is it's not multiband 6. I don't think they've released a 2100, a Casio oak, with multiband 6 yet. So although it loses out on the multiband 6, it does gain it with the power indicator, which the Metal G-Shocks don't have. Again, there'll be another video focusing on sort of features and things later on. Let's go through these other Metal G-Shocks then. So this is, at present, my most expensive watch. And this is £1,500. It's a lot of money. I wanted a titanium G-Shock, but I'm not yet at the stage of picking up the MRG or Mr. G. So this is the kind of gateway to that. I like the Metal G-Shocks, but this one is on a whole nother level. It's so light. it's under 100 grams for me with the links that I've removed. Sapphire crystal, it's solar powered, it's got the Bluetooth, but also the multiband 6. It's a negative display, but it's still quite legible. I would say the most legible negative display I've got is the gold metal G-Shock, and I think that's because it depends on the back film that they use. So this one is sort of like a silvery brown. The silver one is a silver and the gold is a gold. So it really depends on that back panel color of how legible the display is. But it's still an STN display, which is the super twisted pneumatic display. So it's still way more legible than any of the standard. I mean, look at that one. I think this one is more of a reddish hue, but it's way more legible than any of the other negative displays, apart from like the GBD 300, I think it is. And that's probably got the most legible non-STN display. Anyway, I'm rabbiting on. Titanium one. This is probably my favorite watch in the collection, mainly because it's super tough. It's so lightweight, and it actually goes with more things than I thought it would. But yeah, there's that one. And then I've got the gold crystallized. This is probably my most legible G-Shock out of all of them. Because of that STN and the positive display and the kind of gold back plate, I find this so legible even in like low light conditions. It's heavy, obviously, about 160 grams or so, but it's very nice. All of these have the full milled clasps. They've got the screw back plate. Wearing one all day, you can manage it. It's similar to wearing just a normal sort of metal stainless steel watch, really, but of course it's, you know, digital. Then I've got the silver crystal. I got the gold and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna have to get the silver. Silver one's nice. The silver one actually goes with more of my clothes and things, but I just prefer gold. Then we've got, yeah, the Bling Master, the gold, and I like it much more than I thought I would. The display is the most legible negative display I have, again probably because of that gold back plating. I baby this watch so much though. I'm so careful not to get it scratched or anything, but it's not as garish as you may think. Yeah, the bezel is pretty blingy, but the actual strap itself is brushed, so that isn't kind of in your face as the bezel. Very nice. Then I've got the, it's not stealth wealth really, but it's the most expensive sort of resin G-Shock you can get, and that's because it's made in Japan. It's got a metal screwback case. It's made in Japan. The rubber is softer and nicer. I think it's slightly more legible than the resin G-Shocks, only very slightly though. It's not that noticeable, but the reason why it's stealth wealth in a way is because this one is about £230 here, and your typical one is about 80 or 100. It's over 2 times the price, but I think it is worth it. If you're going to get a one watch, one and done, it would be this one out of the entire collection. It's going to last you longer than probably you, and I'll go on to why a bit later. I will be picking up the carbon fibre and titanium one. It's literally a few pennies cheaper than this one over in the UK, but I might be able to get it a bit cheaper just because that is the lightest G-Shock Square. Then we've got the 5610 U. All of these 3 models are the U, and what that means is it means that they've got the LED backlight, which is great. This is normally retailing for about 100. I managed to pick it up for £80, one of my bargains of the year. This one has the multiband 6 and the solar power. Then I've got this one, which I would say it's kind of almost a dumb G-Shock in the sense that it doesn't have the multiband 6, but it does have the solar power. So accuracy wise, I haven't changed the time on this one since I got it. And as you can see, it's still exactly the same, in sync with this one, which you can see has had the signal received from the atomic clock, well, from the radio tower in Anthorn. in England, just in England, very close to Scotland. I just wanted this as a proper beta watch. I think I picked this up for about 60 something, maybe 70. So not that much off of the Multiband 6, but if you live in a place like the largest population, India, where you don't have access to that radio tower to update the watch, then this is probably the go-to, rather than paying the extra money for the Multiband 6. This one was a bit of an impulse buy because I got a good deal on it. These are normally about 80 and 90 pounds. This is just a G-Shock Square, which annoyingly, when I hold the light button to get the auto light and it registers it, the next day it disables it, even though it's enabled in the app. I'll do a video about the app another time. It's just going off now when I'm slightly tilting the watch, but this is probably the worst legibility, along with the Tide Rescue kind of watch I've got, G-Shock. But I just wanted this because it was my first Square, actually, and it was my first Bluetooth watch. So I wanted to test the features and see what it offered to the table. In hindsight, I probably should have skipped this one and gone for a Bluetooth and solar powered version. Yeah, this is it smart? I guess it's smart because of the Bluetooth, but yeah, it doesn't have multiband or solar power. So that battery may well only last 2 or 3 years. Then I started off with the Casiox, you know, the 2100s. The plan is to fill this whole box with G-Shock Squares, and I know which models I'm going to get. Obviously, I'm going to get the carbon fiber one, and I'm going to get a Bluetooth and solar one. I'd like to get the silver one of those, and I'd like to get an MRG, and then this box is done. But this was the start of the Casiox. I looked at the black, silver, and gold, but none of them had the matching indices on the dial. And you know, legibility is one of the things I look for. I mean, as you can see, not all of these watches are very legible, but definitely if I'm spending sort of £500 or so, it would be nice to also kind of read the time a little bit. So that's why I've gone for this. And bronze and gold are more my colour than silver. So yeah, I wanted to try this out, and this was actually my first metal G-Shock. And I was so impressed with this that I then started picking up the squares. I picked this one up in the summer when it was sort of September time, and this was actually my first 2100. And it's solar powered, it's Bluetooth. You know, even if you don't connect it to the app on your phone, it's still going to be accurate, as I've demonstrated with that Square. The light is decent, lights up the LCD display. It's very legible for one of these. It's probably the most legible Casiox I have. I had one of those and thought that was a bit much, so I then picked up the black version. I would have liked the indices to match the hands, to have them white. That would have been good, but the the lighter grey is still fine. Then I picked up a kind of dumb Casiox. This one isn't solar powered or Bluetooth, it's just battery powered, probably going to last 2 or 3 years. It does have the day wheel. It's slightly different to the others, the updated ones. But with these, they're going to be carbon core guard. They're going to be very durable. They're not as expensive as the Bluetooth solar powered ones. I just hope that they do build and eventually bring out solar powered Bluetooth and multiband 6 to these. I'd like to pick up the white one and the red one of those Casiox. Let's have a break from G-Shocks for a while and move over to this kind of metal bracelet dress collection. So I have 3 watches by Mr. Jones Watches. We've got this one, which is a useless afternoon. It's an automatic watch, so it means it's got some mechanisms and things in there. It's powered by your movement and stuff, by Christoph Devos, and it's quite pricey. I think this is about 550, but yeah, it's probably the most legible Mr. Jones watch. I've got the rubber duck is the minutes and the leg is the hours. I don't think there should be a seconds hand, even though it's automatic. I think it's fine the way it is. If there was a seconds hand, I don't know what they would use for that. You know, these are kind of more art watches than, you know, watches. If you put it that way, you go for the look of them. And then I've got this one, which is the Mara Adesso. Sorry if I've butchered that, but I think I said it perfectly in my unboxing. This is another automatic. You haven't got a display case back though, but it is still powered by your movement. The sun is the hours, and the nose of the orca killer whale is the minutes. That's the hardest watch for me to read, really, other than the negative Bluetooth. Then I have this, a perfectly useless Morning by Mr. Jones Watches on a lovely black stainless steel band, and this is one of my favourite watches. This is my autumn watch. I have 3 autumn watches. This one, the gold A168, and the G-Shock 6900. They're my autumn watches. But yeah, this one, the minutes is the tip of the wing for the bird, and the hours is the leaf. I kind of wish that the leaf was a different colour. Maybe not brown, but just a, I don't know, or maybe the bird a different colour, but because sometimes they do, yeah, get in the way of each other. But it's lovely. There's lots of kind of gold and browns, and yeah, it's fantastic. I wish they brought out a useless evening. There is a useless evening with the swimming pool in the darkness, but one of these in the darkness where you've got the trees loomed or something, that would be cool. I might send them an email about that. Then we've got a Casio, so not quite a break from Casio, but I had to get this this Rolex wannabe. I think it's a brass case that's meant to look steel, but it's still 50-meter water resistant. It's still very accurate. The loom isn't too bad. It's got the date on there. It's one of my favourites. It's right cheapy as well. I think I picked it up for like 40 quid. We've got a Seiko Monster. I think this is first gen. Absolutely fantastic. When I go to sleep, the loom on this is the brightest, and I've had this for over 10 years. It is heavy. The stainless steel bracelet isn't the best with this kind of stamped clasp, but it does have the diver's extension, and it is heavy. It's one of my heaviest watches. I will get a different band, a rubber band for the summer, but this is like my summer watch. I'd love to get a different version of that one. Then I've got just this random Casio Edifice. It's probably my only chronometer kind of racing watch. I probably would like to get something mechanical, but again, this is solar powered, multiband 6 as well. The loom is quite decent too. Bracelet is all scratched up, so I probably would need to pick up another one of those, just because I've used it so much. We've got a couple of TW Steel watches. I don't know what I was doing there. Maybe I just wanted to buy a couple of TW Steel watches. Their batteries died a long time ago, and I rarely wear them because they're so big. The case size is huge. I think it's over 40 millimeters. They look nice, and the leather straps are nice, but they're so big I just, yeah, don't really wear them. I mean, I've got 7-inch wrists, but I think these are too big for my wrists. Then we've got the Casio Royale. Need I say more? I think I picked this watch up for about £22. My favourite colour for a backlight. Well, my favourite colour anyway is orange. But yeah, absolutely fantastic, this watch. Yeah, you can upgrade it. It's only got like a plastic screen on it, but it is 100 meters water resistant, 10-year battery life. It's got the world timer. I would upgrade the bracelet because it's not the best, but it goes well with this plastic case. And then we've got 3 A168s, I think. This being my favorite by far, the gold one. This is such a cheap flex watch. I love the light, the illuminator. It's water resistant. That's the one downside with these three, is they're not kind of 50 meters or 100 meters water resistant, and the case is plastic. I've already scratched it a couple of times just from normal wear, and I have babied these watches a fair bit. So yeah, they will get scratched no matter how careful you are. But I'd love Casio to upgrade these, you know, with the water resistant, with a proper case as well. They've done it with a couple of their recent watches, and I'd love to see them upgrade these. So that's the gold one. We've got this one, very retro. I like all the colours on this one, and the silver. That goes with a lot of clothing. The gold one might not. And then for some reason I wanted to pick up this negative display. Negative display is worse than I thought it would be. I thought it would be a bit better than this, but it's still quite legible in this light. But I do like the gunmetal case and the bracelet. And then we'll move on to my final box. So in this final box I've got some random watches, but I picked this one up. This is like an Aviator G-Shock, solar powered, multiband 6 again. I've used this a lot. The resin strap is it's fine, it's hanging in there, but you can definitely see it's used. I'd love to replace the strap one day, but I've used this so much. The crystal is still fine, no scratches. The lume is not the best though. I will say that about this watch. You know, the Edifice is better, and obviously the Seiko Monster doesn't have a backlight either. I think they did introduce backlights into these later on, but I think I got this one in 2010. So this is about 14 years old now. So yeah, that's still fine, that one. This was a recent acquisition. I never had a 6900 before, but I picked this one up. I think they are releasing them with the LED backlight. I might pick one of those up, I don't know, but if I'm going to pick up another watch, there has to be something slightly different with it, like the colour, or an extra feature, or a less of a feature. But yeah, I really like this 6900. I will use it in the gym, but it's a bit big, not that heavy, but you can sometimes notice it, and I just would rather pick up one of the squares or the Apple Watch or something. Anyway, so that's the 6900. That is one of my 3 autumn watches. It just reminds me of autumn, that one. Then I've got a Mudman, I think. Very nice watch, very light. The buttons are capped with this plastic, makes it more difficult for them to press in, but they're more protected, and you can still kind of use them with gloves. And there's this big button here for the light. It is multiband 6 and solar powered, mud resistant. Moving on with the mud resistance, we've got this bad boy. This is got the carbon fiber strap. I think it was made in Japan for it to have that. This one is a little bit like a Rangeman, which I still don't have. I'd love to get one. It's got your solar power, your multiband 6, but it's also got a compass and a thermometer. Best to leave it off your wrist. It's showing 18 degrees, which, yeah, a bit too warm, I think, at the moment for that. I've worn this a lot in a lot of the videos and things. Then we've got this one. I'm not really sure. It's not the best legibility. It's still better than the Bluetooth one. I think that's the worst, but at least it does have a tide graph there. And this is, again, solar powered, multiband 6. It's quite tall though, and it does have wings, which adds to the comfort. And the buttons are kind of protected with these plastic toppers. So I guess if you're kind of working near the coast and things, this might be quite useful. I wanted a white G-Shock. And this is the one I got, and this one will feature in a video. This is like my dumbest G-Shock that I have, in terms of the light is down there. It's a smaller G-Shock. It's got a very basic module. I don't even think it's got the auto illumination light, so it's a massive step backwards from the G-Shocks that I had, well, over 20 years ago. But there's just something about it. I wanted a white G-Shock with the few things that I was wearing, and it is smaller on the wrist, but the buttons are harder to press, and you know, it doesn't have solar power or Bluetooth or multiband 6 or anything. Accuracy wise, I've not changed this since I got it, and it is running slow. It's running about 4 seconds slow since I got it, so there is that. This is like the King G-Shock. I don't wear this because it's just too big, and I think for what you're getting for the, I say uncomfortability, it's not that uncomfortable, it's just for the size, you're getting a smaller size of numbers for the increased size, and I would have expected larger, but it does have that shock absorber in. The buttons are protected. I'd probably say it is mud resistant. Just looking at it, it's one of the toughest square G-Shocks, but it is the big daddy of the squares. Then I've got another Casio Royale. Obviously I like bronze and gold, again with the orange backlight. This one's on the rubber strap. The rubber strap is far too big, I would say. So if you've got big wrists, you know, this is definitely a good one to go for. And if you don't like that metal bracelet, get this one with the rubber. Yeah, just a different colour really, same module and things. Then I started a small cheapy collection. We've got is it the W59? This is probably one of the best. It's 50 meters water resistant. It has the electroluminescent light. I think I picked this up for like, I want to say 20 quid, probably 17, something like that. Anyway, very comfortable. You know, you barely feel this on the wrist. It's got the vents. It's just a massive upgrade to the F91, which is right here. I do have an F91. I thought that this was my first ever watch, but looking back at pictures and things, it was actually this. I think this is the 86. I can't remember. Probably on the back, isn't it? But it was actually this one, because I remember, because I wore it when swimming and things, and one of the features was, because a few of my friends had the F91, and this one had the 50 meters. I still have this watch somewhere, but the battery obviously long since died, and I think the strap disintegrated, so I've just got the module. Be interesting if I could find that one day. But the light is pants. At very low light conditions, you can kind of use it. You can sort of see the time and things. But yeah, I've started an F91 collection. I will be getting some of the colours. Definitely the orange one has taken my fancy. I mean, you can still pick these up for like, 10 or 15 pound, which is fantastic. You know, just swap the strap out. But you'll have to probably replace the strap. But I don't know whether you can replace the strap on these. You definitely can on this one, and it has the extra, I say vents, it's just the buckle holes go all the way, whereas this one, they finish. And then that leads me to a very, very special watch. I received this many years ago, probably 30 years ago or so, and it was my first MTG. I didn't even think it was an MTG, but it was quite expensive, I think. The bracelet is completely scratched up. It's stamped. The light is on the front, which is plastic, and even the silver plastic has chipped away. The writing, you can't see the writing. It's a very, very well-loved watch. The digits are very legible. One of the most legible watches I've got. It, again, for its time, for 30 years ago, you know, it's multiband 6, it's solar powered. For its time, they didn't call it multiband 6 back then, they called it Wave Scepter, but it still had the autoluminescent lights. This is still going after 30 years on the same battery, and this is why my passion for G-Shock and Casio is run true, because I've had this for so long and it's still with me and it still works. And I know most of these will as well, long after I'm gone. But yeah, very, very special watch, that one, for me. I'm so pleased I've got it. As I say, I think I had this 86 first at school, then I had a Baby G. Before it was like, I don't know if it's uncool to have a Baby G, but I had a Baby G. That was before kind of the G-Shocks and things. And I can't find the Baby G, but then I upgraded and got this MTG, my only MTG in the collection. I'd love to get. That's that box collection, and then we've just got some extra watches here, which some might say they're not really watches. I've still got the Series 2 right here, still going strong, still on the same battery. It is now almost 8 years old, this Series 2. It was the first waterproof Apple Watch, so I had to get it for swimming. As I say, it's still going, still does Apple Pay, still quite light. It was the biggest Apple Watch at the time. This is a 42mm. I think they now do them in 44. But what's great about this is, even though it's 42mm, all of my straps that I bought for it work with the Ultra. And again, because I've had such an amazing experience with the Series 2, it's the reason why I picked up the Ultra. Now, I don't wear the Ultra with a suit or anything smart. This is purely swimming. I might wear it in the gym. I'll definitely wear it for a run. So this is kind of the exercise watch. This and one of the G-Shocks are normally on my wrist when I do any kind of exercise. I've got it on the comfy band. This is probably the comfiest band I have. It's a big watch, but it's titanium and it's light. It's a lot lighter than you think it would be. A lot of technology in there. Is it really a watch? It's more of like a fitness companion, like computer extension of your phone. And not everybody wants to be connected to their phone all the time, but it's very, very useful. But of course you do have to charge it every sort of couple of days or so. Whereas most of these I can just pick up and go. Then I've got two night watches, which are sort of in for repair. I need to send these off, but I have ripped off the packaging just to give you a kind of like a little look at them. This night watch is 300-meter water resistant. The strap is useless, and so is this strap. Maybe it's a thing with Nike that their straps are terrible, but I've never had watch straps completely like eat themselves and disintegrate, so that's not the best. But this watch itself is fine. I think it's sapphire glass. It's still going. It's quartz. This Nighthawk was also quartz, but I chipped it again. That glass is supposed to be pretty scratch resistant and things, but none of the other watches I've scratched. The one saving grace I will say about these, well, other than this quartz lasting a long time, is that the tritium gas, the radioactive kind of gas tubes that these have for luminescence, which means you don't need to, put them in the sun or anything. These are the brightest out of all of these watches in the dark, except for like the Seiko Monster. Seiko Monster is quite bright for a decent amount of time, but these stay very bright. They're just glowing throughout the whole night. So if you're looking for a watch that doesn't need to be, the Luminova needs to be charged during the day or whatever, and you just want to strap one of these on at night and you haven't worn these during the day, then yeah, these will definitely help you telling the time. I just would wish that the dive pip there would be bigger. It's still a gas-filled tube, but I just wish it would be the same sort of size as the indices. Anyway, they are in for repair though, to get new straps and servicing, and obviously a new battery for the Nighthawk, which is pretty big. I'll probably start wearing that more once it's repaired. And that's it. That's my entire collection. As I say, there's a lot of these watches, pretty much this whole box, and a few of these and a few of those that have been that I've picked up since September. Back into my watches again. No doubt I'll be back into my knives at some point soon. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Everybody's watch journey is different. If you've had any experience with the channel before, you'll know by now I am a collector. I collect things, and this is just my watch collection. If you have enjoyed this video, why not like and subscribe? There'll be plenty more watch content coming. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.